Hello and welcome to the Secret of Change vlog. What is it, number 8 now I think, and we are finally down in California. We are in sort of the northernmost point of California, staying in the Jedediah Smith State Park area, which is one of the first points heading south in from Oregon that you can see the old growth redwoods. And so for the last couple of days we have been just having a bit of downtime and enjoying the spectacular landscape and the trees around here. Yeah, it's been incredible, to be honest, and really nice to have a couple of days of just no work whatsoever, no filming, and purely just enjoying our time over here, because it seems to have been a lot going on again and again and again for the last few weeks, even months actually, since we first arrived in BC back in June, or July I should say. So what have we been doing? Well, last time I spoke to you I was in Portland and I was talking to you about Seattle. So let me talk to you a little bit about Portland. We arrived into Portland. We spent about a week there in total. Not all of it was filming, but a large majority of it was. And we were meeting up with a group called Transition PDX, or Portland. And we were speaking to them about their journey in setting up a transition initiative in Portland. Now, similarly to Seattle, they haven't really been a functioning transition group for quite a while now, at least in this part of town, and they came across quite a few hurdles, including kind of how they were received within the city, because what we expected from Portland is that it's like seen as this very progressive, or Oregon as a whole actually, this very progressive, forward-thinking, kind of focused on sustainability. You know, it's even got the reputation for it. Any of you who have seen Portlandia will kind of know the reputation it has. And yet it wasn't accepted here, and there were many reasons for that, and I'll go into those in more detail in the documentary The Secret of Change, coming out this winter. However, what we then did, we looked at other groups in the area that were doing similar work with a similar ethos, that weren't necessarily calling themselves transition. And one of these groups that we looked at was called the City Repair Project, and it has been set up. You can check it out online. I suggest you do, because it's a really interesting project and they're doing some really cool things, and basically helping people feel like they have more ownership of their neighbourhoods, and using that as a starting point to invoke more change within communities, and also doing it through sort of a creative medium, using arts and kind of play, I guess you could call it, in order to really help that transition to feeling more connected to where you live and building that community, and then from then moving on to other projects. So we then went down to Eugene. We attended the Northwest Permaculture Convergence, which I mentioned I think in the last vlog, and we made some really good contacts there. We met some amazing people. It's great to see such high attendance of an event like this in Eugene. Again, Eugene doesn't have a functioning transition initiative, and actually we didn't speak to anyone that had been involved with that, but we spoke to a few that are aware of the fact that it existed, and again it didn't work. Now we're kind of surprised by this, although we did, you know, from our research we were aware that there weren't these functioning transition initiatives yet. But there are, I must say that there are a lot going on in a similar vein. Again, highlighting the question, you know, is it necessary to have transition? Well, I definitely think from my experience in Oregon and in Seattle actually, is that there's definitely a role for transition to play. This is my kind of feeling so far, and this may change as I kind of reflect back and look at more of the interviews and things, but I think there's a role it can play, and I think if nothing else, and that is kind of bringing together all the work that's being done, which often feels quite disconnected and loose. Another thing that we've had mentioned quite a bit is that transition streets, which is a new element to the transition movement, or relatively new, that is getting you to focus on a micro local level, you know, really focus on that outreach and building moves towards sustainability on a street level, is getting a lot of interest amongst people that perhaps have failed on a city-wide level. And you know, it's really difficult if you've got very little funding, not a great deal of time, and there's a few of you being the core group. It's really hard to try and take on the entire city. It's really something that is. I can understand why they're struggling with this. But our time in Oregon is at a close. As I said, we are now in beautiful California, Northern California, and we are now going to be driving south down Route 1, which we are very excited about, I have to admit, because it's one of those top roads you have to drive in the world. And we are going to be heading down the Pacific coast, and we're going to be spending some time in the San Francisco area. We've actually got about 3 days of editing lined up, going through what we've been filming, which is really exciting. And also I have a little bit of news for you here, because we are soon to be releasing the first Secret of Change teaser, a very short little taster of what is to come in the eventual documentary. And we're really excited about that, and I hope you are too. We have I think around 100 interviews to go through now, which is pretty daunting, but it's also fantastic that we've been able to speak to that many people, and that many people have been interested in what we're doing, and vice versa. So yeah, I hope you're still enjoying these vlogs. I'm trying to get nice dramatic backgrounds for you. I haven't got any of the redwoods that are over in the over the valley there behind me, but I'll chuck in a couple of clips just so you can see them. And we will be back in touch very soon. As ever, you can keep in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're also on YouTube, where this is being shown. Please leave a comment if you would like to give me any feedback, or if you want to reach out to me in any way. I'm very much available for that, and I will be back speaking to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.